Hello. Oh my goodness. Literally, as soon as I start, I don't know if you guys can still hear me. As soon as I started, Final Fantasy crashed. Give me 1 second to get Final Fantasy back up. The most disappointing entrance ever. The good news is I don't think it crashed everything. It just crashed Final Fantasy, so... We're coming back. Hello, hello. I see Karaman. I see Ziguru, Yurko. Who else? We've got Northern. We can. Yeah, good. You can still hear me. Perfect. Much better than everything crashing. We will be back into Final Fantasy in just a second. This is what I get for trying to start like 2 minutes early. Wasn't that true? The most disappointing stream ever. Literally a minute. Yurko says, I'm doing great. It's actually my birthday today. I also just had 2 clean wins in Crystalline Conflict right before a stream, and now there's a Seesaw stream. Well, happy birthday, Yurko. Hopefully the rest of your day is going great as well. It's great to have some nice luck on your birthday, some good teammates. And yeah, hopefully we can make today's stream nice and fun as well. But yeah, happy birthday. Just waiting in queue now. All right, let's see if I can successfully start streaming. We are in the game. Let's switch to main gameplay and cross our fingers. All right, this looks promising, doesn't it? This looks really promising. All right, everybody still able to hear me? Everybody still able to see the game? We're doing well. Oh, yeah, Ice Bun's here. Nope. Right, ready to go. I like it. Northern says, so you still haven't bought Endwalker yet, Cisa? I have not yet, no. I learned a valuable lesson when I pre-ordered Shadowbringers like 2 years ago, and only I'm gonna get to it in a few days now, that I could have probably waited for it to be a reduced price. So we'll wait until we are at the current expansion to buy it. You know, once I get to the point where I need it, I'll buy it right away. But yeah, I still have not. Oh my god. What the heck? It's crashed again. Is this gonna be like the story of today's stream, just like endless crashes? Oh my god. We're good. What's interesting is it's not crashing anything else than just the game. So, I mean, that's something. We haven't had to remake a stream or something like that, but we're actually going to watch how many times I can successively just log into Final Fantasy, crash, then come out. At least the stream, yeah, this is like the weirdest thing, because usually when I crash, my entire computer pretty much has to reset. Today, it's literally just like, oh, your Final Fantasy had a DirectX 11 crash. Here you go. This is just what I get for starting early, isn't it? Alright. We are back in this queue. As soon as we get in, we're gonna kick it into actually get into the story, because maybe that's what'll save us from the crashes. It's all this idle standing still that's really hurting us. But yeah, welcome to the stream, everyone. If you have a second, toss it a like. maybe it'll bless the stream. I did want to shout out, I'm currently working on a review of the base Stormblood expansion, and I do realize we haven't done the Heavensward review at all yet, but I am working on a review for Stormblood. Look at this. All right, this is the entrance I needed. This is what we were waiting for the whole time. I love it. Thanks so much, Icebun. All right, let's main gameplay. Here we go. Here we go. This is the entrance we needed. Wow, snazzy. Super snazzy. Kierman says, sometimes when I get DX11, I have to start my PC to get it working again. I know, I'm very much concerned that that's what's going to have to happen here. Irka says, you're working on your Final Fantasy login speed run. Exactly what's happening today. But yeah, let me finish my thought. I did put a comment in the community section. I want to do like a Q&A section of the review, so if there's any questions you have about my experiences in Stormblood, be sure to check that out. That post is live now, so, you know, put as many questions as you like. I can't guarantee that all of the questions will make it in, but I definitely would like to do a section where I dive into some specific questions people have, because the things I think are important in an expansion definitely might not be things you're like, oh, I wonder what he thought about this, so check that out. But yeah, let's, without further ado, start the Butcher's Blood and see how this goes. I already thank all of you for the patience. All right, Arnveld says, all jesting aside, we must tell people the good news, and I think Lise would be should be the first. Second, there is to be a meeting of representatives across Alamigo, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? Zakuro says, oh, there is an S-rank rare mob spawn up where you are. You're just trying to lure me away from the story, aren't you? Alright, where's this S-rank mob? And how do you know it spawned? I have so many questions. Also, will it kill me is the question that I think we all have to ask. I still don't have all this like area up here discovered, eh? That's actually kind of interesting. Well, we'll continue for now. I think this is the longest we've lasted today without a DirectX 11 issue, so I'm feeling very strong. Feeling brave. There's a zone-wide announcement. Oh, when they spawn, so there's an announcement that I just didn't see. Oh, maybe it's in the chat probably still, eh? You sense the presence of a powerful mark. I'm gonna guess that's probably what it was, eh? Interesting, that's kind of cool. Oh wow, Icepun beat me here, like, by a long shot. Dude. Northern, I don't have any questions as I've already interviewed you twice. I mean, that's a good point. But if others have questions, I mean, I'm sure you could still think of questions, but yeah, you don't need to do any. Zakuro says, still shouldn't solo it though. Ah, that's fair. Ayurko says, and they're level 70, so you should be fine. Oh, the mob, I see. Lise, oh, you three look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Lise. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the answer. I do like how they always do this sort of like, we'll explain what happened and just make quick work of it, which is so nice. You're joking. The Mad King's Trove? I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people, but they didn't have Seesaw and Alphano in their party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. As for what to do with it all, I vote it go towards alleviating the suffering of the Alamigos poor owl. Of course we're going to do something nice with it. Gods, if there's as much as you say. Arnville did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it out on our own. I've taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, they should be able to follow the route to where the treasure lies, and hopefully not have any horrible baddies waiting for them. Kerman says, to be fair, you paused to check out the chat, and I flew over the buildings. This is how you beat me here? Yurko says, you'd be fine with a large group, though, so not solo. That's fair. That's fair. It's cool though that they just spawn. What, like, how often do mobs like that spawn in a specific map? Like, is it like daily, or like is it quite a rare thing to see? At least says, understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, there is one thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alphino. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see simply handing out sacks of gil won't solve everything, but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. I like Arnveld a lot. I've been, like, with the review, I've been looking through some of the earlier parts of the expansion, and, you know, he does have quite an interesting story. I'm kind of happy that they're giving him some more content at the end here. Northern says, very rare. S ranks are weekly spawns, and have specific spawn conditions. Wow, that's actually wild. Those ones are pretty rare, once every few days at most, I think. Yurko says, S ranks can be very rare. Some of them have absurd spawn requirements. Things like catch a specific fish a certain number of times in my god, in a row. That's wild. I just made it. Lise says, oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us, Alphino. Of course. I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem. Deep breaths. Tell me what happened. A mob's gathering outside headquarters, and they've started making demands. You'd best come see it for yourself. I wonder if people found out about the treasure before we distributed it. Could be interesting. Could be interesting. Matthew Knowles says some of the spawn conditions are weird. What's the weirdest one?
All of you.
Amanaga's here.
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
Who do we have in here?
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Hand her over?
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What did we do?
What's going on? Someone let slip about Fedola.
Oh, Fordola.
It's true,
Interesting.
then. The bitch really is in there.
Oh my goodness.
I knew it. I bloody knew it. We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Wow, things are getting tense around here.
Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
This is interesting because this really shows the growth of Lisa's character. Because I feel like at the start of this expansion, she would be like first in line to butcher the butcher. And now she's like, it's you know, a sign of leadership and maturity here, which I really do appreciate. Anyways, that's what I think. Yurko says, I think there's one where you have to emote Pesaz in the sea of clouds or something strange. Like, oh, so you have to emote at like a mob or something. That's so interesting. Matthew says, die in a certain area. Caravan says, people are quite rightly angry at Fedola. I would say that it's right for them to be mad. Matthew says, walk in an area with a pet. These are, and like, are these things that like the developers would tell people about in advance, or is it something that like would lay as a mystery for like years until someone randomly did it and discovered it? Because I find that's such a cool part of games, but it would also be like hard because if you made it too obscure, someone might not understand that they were connected to it. But interesting either way. Michael says, but is Lise the leader they need? It's a good question. It's a good question. I mean, I think only time will tell. Obviously, a lot of you probably have a good idea of what happens in the future. I'd say at the moment, Lise is a good option. In terms of what I see happening from this point on is that we kind of leave Lise here in this area, and that she's still a part of the Scions and like, you know, communicates with us, but she's not one of the active members for the next few expansions because she's gradually becoming more and more of a leader here, and we kind of see that growth through little chapters in the future. That's what I would expect. However, Final Fantasy is really good at throwing turns and like confusion and stuff like that, and I appreciate that too, that it's not always what I expect. Yurko says, nope, they're not told to us. People had to figure it out. That's wild. Like, I don't think so. I don't think they tell us. So, like, so there could still be ones that people just haven't figured out yet. Is that, like, is it like, when an expansion comes out, do you know that there's, like, one in each map or something, and people kind of have to figure that out? Or is it, like, complete mystery? This is, like, such a cool part. I swear there's so many little tiny things in Final Fantasy that just, like, are beneath the surface.
Calm
rebels dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
God. All right. Well, maybe, you know, she has a good reason to be very angry.
Aye, and my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
God.
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her! So that's what all the fuss is about.
Oh, Roban's gonna put some sense into these people, I think.
Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
God, I don't know. This is interesting. It's a good wrinkle in terms of, like, the victory. Irko says, no, I think we figured all of the S ranks. We know how many there are in each expansion. Okay, so there is, like, a maximum amount. Kerman says, yeah, one in each zone. No idea how many people work out the spawn mechanics, though. That would be, like, I'm sure there's a group of people who it's their favorite activity when the new expansion comes out is to go and figure that out. Like, it's such an interesting piece of content that I'm sure there's people who are just, like, waiting for that, which is so cool. Irko says sometimes it does take a while, though. Like, they spawn randomly, but it can take some time before people figure out the pattern. I guess, yeah, that's fair. You know, if you see the message in the chat and there's like 50 people on the map doing different things trying to make it spawn, how do you see which one actually did it? That's so interesting. I just hit my hand on the table and it hurt. But that's so interesting.
Hey, who's this?
What do you mean, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
There you go.
My friends, you are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well.
I think Rauban is like one of the characters that has become cooler each and every expansion. Like, I thought he was aight in the first ARR, but like, you know, and I don't want to say losing an arm makes you cooler, but his coolness has only continued to skyrocket as we've gone through different expansions here. Zirko says, there are hints if you talk to the hunt bill giver, then have to go from there. Okay, so they give you some hints. Just Andy says, woo, hello Sisa, hello, welcome to the stream. I don't know if this is the case for you, just Andy, but I should say, you know, it's kind of nice that we had a different time when, you know, usually we do 10 a.m. my time. Having a 2 p.m. stream is a little bit different, especially on a Sunday, but it should allow, hopefully, for some people who can't normally join to join on in, which will be great. Irka says, nah, losing an arm in an automatic is an automatic coolness of 2,000%. I mean, kind of, especially with like the fact that he still fights so like badass with it. It's awesome. Kerman says the Luke Skywalker principle, get cooler once you lose a hand. It actually happens a lot in Star Wars, doesn't it? Because like both him and Anakin lose a hand. I mean, obviously Anakin loses like more than a hand at points, but I think so. Maybe I'm misremembering that. It's been a while since I've watched the prequels or whatever.
That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers.
Oh, so he's going to say we question her.
I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth.
So interesting. Roban. Okay, Robohan. Oh, Robohan. I see the comment above. Hey, just had to get him a magic tech arm. I mean, it's a good point. They do have some interesting technology. You think they could do that. I feel like he was offered it, but declined it. Like, I feel like he understands it makes him more awesome, too. Robohan. That's actually such a funny name. Yurko, oh my god, yes. We should get the Ironworks on that ASAP. Oh my god, Sid would be perfect for this. He would be absolutely perfect. Irko, call, yeah, there you go, call Sid, yeah. Michael, Pat says, this speech always reminds me of Aragon at the wall. Oh, like the final speech. The My Brothers. Yeah, it's such a good speech. Me stopping
Now
midway
is
through it's
the
probably not
time
great.
that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're really thinking it through. Well, I guess it's not like the first war that a lot of them, or at least certainly Raban's been in.
I know you're right. I do. But I can't.
Oh man, what's he gonna do? I guess this is an example of Lise, like, she didn't know what to say, so it's kind of an example of her not really being ready for every situation. But I think that's, like, part of the new leader's struggle is to accept that you're not going to know what to do in every situation and to learn from it, right? So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Jasandi says, Pooh, he really would decline that. He probably would, right? He seems like the person to be like, nah, no hand, no magic hand. Or like just a blade for a hand. Could be cool too. Lee says, my thanks, Raban. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas what same rage which brought us to our feet and carried us to victory. But now the war is over, all the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, and it's not just there. We've had reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Garleans. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xanos and his officers. It was oh my goodness. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But maybe the time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders, and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we've planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited Antana and, oh my goodness, Kirian to participate. Alamigo stands at crossroads, and this means we will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fridola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Oh my god, the music's like so loud right now. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. And Nago, I already explained why we couldn't do that. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated? And everyone who didn't resist? There would be no one left, and we'd be no better than Theodoric and Xenos. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fridola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past, a moment of it, anyway, during the fight. She's done terrible things, unforgivable things. But in some ways, she's a victim of circumstance in which she was born, and that's something I can understand. All right, speak with the prison guard and when you're ready, and I'll come and join you. I want to talk with her too. I'll return to my other duties then. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fredola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions color your judgment when she does. So does that mean we get to go talk to Fredola? I kind of want to chat to Fredola and see how she's doing now. Are you just gonna do this every time I come out of a cutscene? Because I do enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome. Matthew Newell says Barrett machine gun. Oh, instead of the sword for the arm, a machine gun arm. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, it'd be like kind of a new class, I guess, kind of like a machinist. Irgo says, yeah, Lisa's still trying to find her feet in the new with her new leadership role. It's good that she has people like Raoban backing her up. Irgo says, yes, keep doing it, Karaman. It's so cool. I think I'm like kind of too short for it though. Well, no, it works. Maybe not every time. Every time. I've come to expect it now. You've the commander's permission to enter? I guess so. I mean, I don't know if I, like, trust her still. Like, I know it's 4 against 1.
So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
That's not why we're here, no. Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
This is such an interesting part. Like, I love how much the villains of Final Fantasy actually have a story and actually matter, and it's not just, oh, they're done, let's move on. Like, I like this a lot because it's a very complicated situation, because Fredola was born into this situation and obviously did horrible things, but what do you do? It's not like you could just become friends, like, you know, a la Sylvanas or whatever, where they're just like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's forgive everything and just work together. But it's also more complicated than just killing everyone off, right? So it's really interesting. Kerman says, I got the event done for this just now. I think it ends tomorrow, though. Oh, good job. Yeah, I did it. I wanted to make sure I did it. As soon as I heard there was emotes, I was like, okay, this could be worth it. And it was. It wasn't, like, very long either, which was a nice thing, because it was a relaxing event, which is what I needed last week.
You're wasting your time. All of this is pointless. There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it. I killed your men. I killed my men. And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
Wow. She's still pretty angry. Although I think she's trying to egg us on.
You know it. You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want. You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fredola. I see you for what you are.
Ooh, an echo, eh? Oh my gosh, is that her?
Come along for Fidola, we mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
All right.
Wow. So we're gonna see the guard somewhere.
Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
I mean, this is how you humanize a antagonist. You show childhood. Oh man, is this...
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what
So
did that man
interesting.
call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
Oh my gosh.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
This is wild. I love this. Irko, or where were we? Garmin says, I think Lise sees a bit of herself in Fridola, that drive to make a better life for herself and her people. They just came at it from a different angle. So yeah, I think that's a really good comparison. Yurko says, Fridola is such a good antagonist. No, I really do enjoy her story a lot. Carmen says, tiny Fridola. Yes, little tiny Fridola. Yurko says, she's not a villain. From her perspective, she thought she was doing the right thing, what was best for her people. And I mean, that's often the case with a lot of with well-written villains, is that they're trying to, you know, from their point of view, they're doing what's right. You know, no matter how wild it sounds, kind of like the Thanos thing. Like he, in his mind, he thought that he was doing a great justice to the universe by snapping everyone out of existence or whatever, or half of people or whatever. And I'm not saying that Thanos is a well-written villain necessarily. I'm just saying that that's an example of, you know, seeing it right through the villain's eyes. Irko says she's not a villain. Oh, sorry, I just read that. Jasanti says there is always a reason people do things, villain or no. Yeah, I think that's really, really good point. And I'm sure the Warrior of Light, from a lot of other people's perspectives, might seem like a villain who's super powerful, like that, Xenos or whatever. Jasanti says the hero of their story. Exactly.
Oh, but they were quick to out themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
Like a rock?
Fidola!
Traitors!
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of Arn.
What?
We're citizens. We have rights.
Ah!
I'm scared.
It's all right. It's all right. They don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive. Traitors! Traitors!
Wow, this is wild. Oh my God, did their father just die?
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
And, like, did he just get knocked out, or like, this is wild. Yurka says, oh, absolutely. I imagine that to a rank and file Garlean soldier,
please,
the Warrior of Light
already
is a
have
terrifying sight.
citizenship. Why would
Probably.
you want to become a soldier?
Probably. Matthew says, people can suck. Very true. All people can suck, for sure.
Oh, gods, what have you done to your face?
Wow.
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honoring Father's memory.
I'm gonna guess he did die there.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us?
What a confusing childhood. What I like a lot about Stormblood, and I think maybe Heavensward as well, but there's very few of these echoes, and because of that, they feel much more impactful versus ARR, where I'd say we'd have an echo like every couple of quests, and you kind of just got used to it. But at this point, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're going to see someone's backstory, because the last time we did it was when we saw Raban's kind of house or whatever, and both of those moments felt super impactful because of this. So I really like their use of the echo now. It kind of just, it's really special when it does happen. Carmen says, this is one of those scenes that is almost upsettingly real. People take out their frustrations on those who try to work with the oppressors to survive. Humans suck. Yeah, because it is a difficult situation, because they're essentially, like Fredola's parents, are trying to find the best future for Fredola given their circumstances. And they believe that working with the oppressors is going to give her a better chance. But yeah, it's really complicated.
Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage. So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time.
What are they going to do?
It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
She's got, like, tenacity for sure. Like, there's that least ferocity in there that you can definitely feel. Carmen says, oh no, Yurko says, I think the area where SB, and SB is Stormblood, right? Not Shadowbringers. Really shines brightest is in character development, and I would fully agree with that. I think, and I'm kind of giving away the review a bit, but one of the big things when comparing Stormblood to Heavensward for me, I think Heavensward's narrative, if you were to just read a book of this story, would be more engaging. But I think Stormblood did a lot more for world building in two ways. Both character development. There's a lot of characters that I've come out of this really appreciating more, both new characters and existing characters. But also the size of the world. It just feels so big knowing that like there's this whole area that we're in right now, but also across the sea, and there was a whole area there. Like it feels like there's such a big world full of these different cultures and stuff. That we got to discover, which I think is really fun. Oh, they're gonna put their hands in. I love it. Oh, they got like a cool signal.
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Carmen says it's a great plan and would have worked much better if the Garleans weren't quite so xenophobic. Yeah, it's kind of xenophobic. Yeah, it's. I don't know if it, like they'd have to be very different for it to work well. It's a tough situation for her no matter what. I'm trying to think of what circumstances would have allowed it to work well. Because I feel like it's hard. It's hard to say. And it's hard to say, like, Frodola should have done this differently, right? Like, there's definitely choices that she made that are quite dark, specifically firing on her own troops or something like that. But looking at the overall trajectory of her journey, it's hard to say, oh, this is how she should have done this differently or whatever. But no, it's a good point, Carmen.
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes. Wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
This is just so dark. I like Final Fantasy just goes into these dark stories, which I love. Jeff says, I remember years ago when you said that you heard how great Shadowbringers is and how you want to play it and be able to say things like, you should have played during Shadowbringers. And here we are today. Endwalker has been out for months, and my man is in Stormblood. I'm making it bit by bit. I think I actually went through Stormblood a little bit quicker. I actually haven't compared, but to Heaven's Ward, I think I'm starting to pick things up, specifically by doing it as streams and just like constantly doing the stuff. We're getting there. But you keep watching, Jeff. I'm gonna make it this Shadowbringers. And then to Endwalker, and maybe whatever's next, I'll be really close to that one. That's all I can say.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past.
Do people know when we have echoes about them? Or is she just like...
What? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they?
I guess Xanos might have explained, you know, what makes the Scions or something like that. It's really interesting that she knows what we saw.
Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led.
I like how the text boxes that are like yelling have like a different look to them too.
The bastards that killed him. The bastards that let it happen. My father deserved better. I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay.
No, she's having an echo, eh? Is this part of her power that she absorbed?
You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone.
So interesting. I like this. Jasandi says, kind of well known now. I guess, yeah, like people would know that about the Warrior of Light. So I guess, I think what's less well known is just that it was an echo he had about Frodola. Like, I mean, maybe they know that they have echoes and can see the past, but to know that it was about her, I guess you could just based on the circumstances guess it. It's just interesting. Lily says people tend to react after we've seen something, so they may feel it. I guess that's fair, because I always felt like the reaction was because we kind of like pass out a little bit when we have, like, we don't pass out, but it looks like we have a headache or a tummy ache or something on our little Lalafell. And that's why people know we're having a echo, but it's a good point. Maybe that's why they react as well. Iriko says, so first she's resonant, which means she has an artificial echo, right? And that's from the powers that they did the experiments with Kryl and stuff, right? That's where that came from. Second, other people know something is up because we get splitting headaches and grab our head. Yeah, so that makes sense. Iriko says, anyone who knows what the echo is will know what's happening. So, yeah, I guess I understand that people will know that we're having the echo happen to us, but just the fact that she knows we were seeing things about her, and I guess from context, she kind of just guessed that. Northern says, did you notice how you had different gear during Fridola's echo? I did not notice that. That's very interesting. What gear did we have? Like, I guess what's the reason we had the different gear? Is it because that's what we had when we did those things? Is that why? Because it was like parts of the past, right?
The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting. Yet there you stand. Unbroken. How? Why?
What will you say? You know why. You saw. For those I have lost, for those I can't yet save. Because I choose to. It's really interesting. Really interesting. I do like this little bit of choice they've been giving throughout these. I'm going to say because I choose to.
Damn you. Damn you all.
God, I love these cutscenes so much. It has come a long way from, you know, the cutscenes back in ARR. I still wish the character, like the player character, had a voice like they do in Guild Wars 2, and I don't know if that's something that does come later on. And I know it's a huge amount of work because for Guild Wars 2, for instance, they have to do all of the different races, and that's a lot. I can't even imagine doing it for all of the different races and combinations for Final Fantasy XIV. But it would be like, it would be a level of quality add. I just don't know if it's a feasible thing for them to do. But it's the one thing I'm like, I wish I could hear my character talk. Irko says she guessed it from context. Yes, okay, so that makes sense. Northern says, yes, it was the gear you had during those events. Interesting. That is really interesting. So the game just has, like, it's stored up somewhere that we had that. I guess it's using maybe the same system that they have in the inn where you can kind of go and see the cutscenes again. Because, like, I guess they kind of have it stored somewhere. It's I don't know, it's interesting to think about. But thanks for pointing it out. That's really, really cool, Northern.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
There we go, the Butcher's Blood. We get an orchestration. Do, 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 do. Is that our first quest done of the day? Is this our new slowest pace? How's my bag doing? Look at that, not bad, not bad. Let's use this. I found like 6 of those orchestrations when I was cleaning up my bag, so we're trying to get on top of that. Zirko says, sadly, it isn't gear saved during the event. The game doesn't have memory like that. It is what you were wearing now. Just some scenes have force setting of no helmet. Oh, I see. Okay. So it's not, it doesn't have a memory of what I wore, because that would be a lot to have that for every single person who went through it. Like, I don't know how they would achieve that. I mean, not that I know anything about programming a MMORPG, but I mean, it would be very complex, I think, to do that. I assume with the in system where you can go and relive different cutscenes, does it use the gear you had during those cutscenes in the inn, or does it do whatever you're currently wearing in those cutscenes? I've got so many questions now. Irko says inventory is still terrifying to me, but it's at least better. Hey, it's like there's a good like almost a whole quarter of it empty now. I mean, it is still terrifying, and I do apologize for who I am as a Final Fantasy player, but at least it's not going to pause us from continuing. Echoes of an echo. There's going to be even more echoes. I kind of like this. Lee says, I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fredola something to think about at least. Aye, and I found something new to think about too. I think that's the big thing, is that we all know something more to think about, which is nice. Zirko says, whatever you are currently wearing. Okay, so it would be whatever you're currently wearing. Would it be even whatever job you currently are? Like if I completed it on my samurai, but I went and watched it as a Dark Knight, would I then be a Dark Knight in the cutscenes? The inn uses your current... Oh, Matthew answering it right after. The inn uses your current job and gear. It uses your gear you have now. Matthew says you can see yourself face off against primals as a crafter. That's actually pretty funny. But that's actually really kind of cool because, you know, if you wanted to recreate some like scenes or like some content, you could go back and do it with whatever job you wish you had done it with, kind of, which is kind of cool. I don't know about you, Seesaw, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fredola kept wincing, though, I feel like I get a feeling she's having them almost all the time. And that's a lot of bad memories to deal with. Also a lot of headaches, my goodness. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who is born with the echo and one who is artificially imbued with it? I mean, I would think so. Well, the Immortal Flames have been scouring the research facility ever since Liberation. There's a chance they might have some answers for us now. I like that we're continuing down this vein of discovery, because this was a very interesting part of the story. General Aldins, they're overseeing the investigation. Let's go pay him a visit, shall we? Yurko says, from an implementation perspective, I think they planned ahead and knew they wanted to do something like that for specific cutscenes. The server would only need to store about 40 bytes of bytes of storage. So okay, so if they're not doing it for every scene, but they did it just for a few scenes, then that would kind of make sense, I guess. Irko says, but they would need to know ahead of time what they wanted to do, and specifically story or appearance. I don't think that tech has been implemented, though. Okay, so it's something they might do in the future, I see. Where are we off to? So it is about 2:50 my time, so we are probably going to continue until 3:30 my time, so another 40-ish minutes. I did mention at the start of this, there is a post in the community section of the YouTube channel, of my YouTube channel, for people who have any questions they'd like me to answer during my Stormblood review. So it's of the base Stormblood expansion, so everything up until the final fights with Xenos and stuff like that. And if you have any questions, it can be multiple questions, just toss them in that thread, and I'll pick some of those to include in the review that I'm hoping to have ready, not next weekend, but the weekend after. So kind of the July long weekend, if you will. So that's the plan. But yeah, if you have any questions, go ask them. Write them down. Give me the content. It'll help steer the review in the right direction. General Adeline is inside. Will you be joining him? Yes. Because I think next weekend we're probably going to do a Guild Wars 2 stream where we do the second episode of The Living World Season 1. I see that it's been added, and I've been wanting to do a similar playthrough to what we're doing in Final Fantasy with Guild Wars 2, so I think we'll give that a go next weekend. Northern says, as soon as Seesaw unlocks Doma Resurrection, he'll be able to clear his inventory. Irko says, I'm actually having trouble thinking of things you haven't already talked about. Quite a bit during the playthrough. I'll give it a think, though. Yeah, it's probably hard, because for those of you who have watched like every single stream throughout Stormblood, you've probably heard me talk about the specific event as it's happening. But yeah, I guess like if there's comparisons to other expansions within Final Fantasy or other expansions with other games, it might be interesting. But yeah, if you don't have a question, don't worry either. It's my homework, not your homework. Raban says, what news? You spoke to Fredola, I take it? Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arnville noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the Echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different for her? We've been having a hard time, or we've been hard pressed to just organize the research materials. Let alone study them, my goodness. To be frank, I'd welcome the science expert assistance if you have time to lend a hand. Here we go, we're gonna do a quest where we just research, or sort through papers. It'll be fun. Should be good, should be a good time. Oh, I don't know if I want to touch the Magic Tech pod. Sounds concerning. The device in which Kryl was held seems even more ominous now that you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked with supply subject, while this one bears the label master subject. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the labeling? All the pods are designed to drain ether of the occupant, save the one right here. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. Interesting. So, like, has Kryl, I wonder, like, if Kryl doesn't have the echoes as much? Like, has this taken power from people? I don't know, I'm curious now. Idle conversation prohibited, eating and drinking prohibited. The fallen scrap of parchment appears to list facility regulations, but nothing of interest. Okay. Am I still supposed to touch it? Huh. Interesting. Is there other scraps? I guess there's an investigator over here I should talk to. So many bodies, every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible aether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. Gosh, that is dark. Just like a husk. Irko says it did not affect her echo in any way that we know of. Okay, interesting. Raban says, I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated. Seesaw, shall we start with you? Taken in combination with testimonies of Kryl and Thancred, I begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed infusing a single candidate with aether siphoned from a multitude of subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Kryl, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. Oh, so they were absorbing aether from other subjects, but using Kryl's, like, physical way of channeling ether as a model. So maybe she wasn't actually getting anything really absorbed from her, but just used as kind of a blueprint, if you will. Irko says, as far as we know, it has just copied her echo. What happened to people in the other pods, however, shudders. So yeah, it wasn't really absorbing stuff from Kryle. Karaman says, I think it's implied that they used other people's aether, but hers wasn't drawn out, just used as a model. Okay, I see. Zikuro says, I like when Seesaw questions, it will usually be answered a little bit later in the scene. That's often what it is, as I get too excited. And then it's going to be answered like right after, which I think means that they're doing a really good job of presenting the story, because if it's answering, you know, making people ask the questions they want people to ask, that's a pretty good sign. Lee says, in other words, they weren't trying to recreate Kryle's echo. Or they were trying to recreate Kryle's echo. I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Kryle is possessed of an irrevocable ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engineered the same acute sensitivity for Dola. So wait, does Kryle have a more sensitive version than other people? Is this something we've already learned? Kryle is possessed of it. Whispers of the soul. So yeah, it sounds like Kryle has a more sensitive version of the echo then. The soldiers who guarded for Dola many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. And there's a sentry at her door night and day. If she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past. Oh, she can see other people's thoughts and stuff. But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it would do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed, as you recall, Yazael was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hezvilgar's past. For Dola has been forced to experience the agony of those lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of the experiment have been relayed back to Garland, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, the entire Legion. And now, is the echo, like... I see its use, but does that also mean that they're able to, like, have some of the other powers of the echo? Like, when we say giving the echo to others, we don't just mean the ability to see the past, because having the echo is what allows us to perform as well as we do in a lot of instances, right? Like, it's essentially where us and the other Scions get our power from. Is that not true? I'm diving deep into ARR territory now, trying to remember. Irka says, Kryle explained back in Heavensward that everyone's echo is a bit different. Hers is very sensitive to what people are feeling and what they've been through. Interesting. See, this is what I like too, is that they take things you learned from Heavensward, little bits, and then they touch on them again in future expansions. It's really nice. Robin says, we must be ready. We must learn all we can of these godforsaken procedures, and Frodala remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish, not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. Zakura says not the other Scions, since only you and Kryle have it in the Scions. It never Yorko says it's never been explicitly stated, but heavily implied that the echo is the lore explanation for our ability to see combat markers, which makes us very good at avoiding things like AoE. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that you'd be able to do that. So, and sorry, Zakuro, you say not the other Scions, since only you and Kryle have it in the Scions. So we're the only two that have the Echo? I would have... Did Minfilia have the Echo? I'm trying to think now. Like back in the day? Like, because I feel like there were more than just us. I know Minfilia's in her own situation at the moment, but very interesting. I like how tied this is to our powers. Irkris says the only members of the Scions with the Echo are the Warrior of Light, Kryle, and formerly Minfilia. Zikro says, but yes, even fighting compatibility like you saw at the end of the level 69 dungeon where Ferdola was able to dodge Lys and Azel. I see. Oh, and Arenveld. Okay, interesting, interesting. Lee says, I go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Rauban. Yet more evident that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. General Eldon is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lys. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. I wonder what you'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. I wonder what he'll do. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? 'Tis a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or to start again in the land of their birth. Very interesting. I wonder if there will be a bit of a migration. Iriko says, and Arenville also has the Echo. Karaman says, yeah, most Scions don't have the Echo. Arenville does, and he's technically a Scion, right? Just not part of the main crew. The main crew. There's an inner circle, if you will. Pippin, Seesaw, a moment. I am newly returned from Ul'dah with a message from the Sultan, or Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must say, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. An audience with the Sultana. Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be the perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Yes, we'd like to know about those, Alphino, but not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of him, Seesaw. I mean, I kind of want answers. I feel like we've done enough for the Sultana over the years. Look at that. Look at that. Like it was planned. We got Rose Blackbird and Icebun, and they're both... Look at that. Look how beautiful. Hee hee hee. So nice. Ah, so much fun. Ooh, I have help, smiley face. Alright, Sultana's strings. Alphinote says, well, the question of how to pull the Mad King's treasure, put the Mad King's treasure to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arenveld? I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanamo my regards, Seesaw. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. All right. Onward we go. I love it. All the way to Ul'dah. It feels like forever since I've been... Actually, no, I guess I went... No, was it... No, it was Ul'dah where you started the newest event. And then it brought you to Limsa, I think. Let's roll. A lot of things start in Ul'dah. It's also super confusing to find your way. Oh, I should have taken an aetheryte crystal, shouldn't I? Alright, where do we have to go? We have to go... let's go to the Chamber of Rule. Chamber of Rule. Look at me using systems in the game to help. Oh, I love the music here so much. I think it's one of my favorite soundtracks. It's a soundtrack that I'm now nostalgic for, interestingly. Like, not as much as maybe... How did you beat me here so quickly, iSpun? What is this? I don't know how you guys get around so quick, but I'm impressed. You were expected, my lord. Please proceed. All right. Don't drink anything.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy.
We have been. Feels like forever since we've talked to
The liberation of
Nanamo.
Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel.
Is this the same voice that Nanamo had earlier? I'm trying to think now. Yurko says, knowing the map helps. Are you saying there was a better place for me to teleport to? Or maybe the fact that I like walked out super confused and then teleported somewhere else?
I speak of Rauban and his future.
Rauban.
All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Ul'dah home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss.
Well, I mean, we obviously didn't have to interrogate. It's pretty much his answers are coming out. We're getting exactly what we asked for. Kerman says, yeah, I know pretty much this whole world like the back of my hand. Yeah, I can't say that yet. Kerman says his future as Roboban. I mean, it would be cool. Northern says, I think this is her Heavensward voice. Okay, maybe it is. It's just been a really long time since I've heard her, so it might be on me. Nanano's voice changed in Heavensward, but it's been the same since then. Okay, so it did change from ARR. Did we talk with her a fair bit? Because, like, she got poisoned, but that was at the very end of ARR, right? Does she have a big... I guess at the end, the alliances come in Heavensward as well, right? It's always the case. We do all of the legwork, and then all the alliances come at the very end. Yurko says... the only voice actor that changed since the Heavensward switch is Yuguri's, and yeah, her voice actor was murdered / oh my goodness. That's dark. That's dark. That's sad. Carmen says, oh really? I did not hear about that. Yeah, that's super sad. I always thought like being a voice actor would be so cool. Not that I am like, I don't know if my voice is I don't think I could do like characters well. I can kind of do my voice, but I just think it's a cool idea to like be able to act so well through the tone of your voice. I think it's very interesting.
Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt.
Flicker of doubt, eh?
Whether Raubon chooses to remain in Uldar or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret.
I guess that's fair, making him choose what he wants to do, and it's hard to make choices like that and not have regret. Matthew says, yeah, her and her kid were murdered by her ex. Oh no, that's horrible. That's really sad. As we said earlier, humans suck. Irko says, yeah, Yurgi's original Heavensward voice actor was Sian Blake. She and her children, oh my goodness, were murdered by her partner, who fled the UK to Ghana. Some people in Ghana heard the news and recognized him. He got deported. Wow, this is dark. Irko says he's in prison now. I mean, at least he's in prison now. Zirko says, let's try and not bring down the stream now. I mean, I appreciate the sharing of the facts, because it is, you know, it's nice to know the story. It's sad. Like, I'm sad that happened. And I think, you know, it's good to share the story, but yeah, I get your point too, Zirko.
Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears. Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Ooh, an adventure? We like adventures.
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
All right, where are we going? Where's this new... Oh, we have to go... we can go to the Adventurers Guild one, eh? Don't know if this is the fastest way, but we're gonna give it a go. I'm sure I'm gonna find out that Iced, or that Caraman, I guess, has already been at the spot for like the last 5 minutes just waiting. Probably beat me just like walking past me as well. Oh no, he's right there. Adventurers... Oh god. Oh no, he is going. It's a race. It's a race. Okay, I'm gonna call this a tie. I'm calling it a tie. Wow, she does do a good job of disguising herself. Nanama says, what do you think of Lilira, the merchant's daughter? This is the disguise I don when I wish to leave the palace and observe my subjects unnoticed. That's so cool. Ordinarily, Papa Shan would accompany me, but for this particular outing, I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now, let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the Gate of Nald. All right, wherever that is. Cameron says, I love the Sultana's disguise. Nobody would ever guess. Northern says, fun fact, if you start in Ul'dah, then you meet Lilira. Really, you meet her? That's actually so cool. It's a flawless disguise. That's actually really cool. I don't know what's the quickest way, but I'm going to go this way, because I feel like I can just fly once I get to this map. We don't know if it's the best way, but we're going to do it. Farrell says, the Lilira disguise brings me back memories of ARR. That's funny, and welcome to the stream, Farrell. It's always nice hearing from everyone. I feel like I'm super zoomed in. There we go. Yurko says, yep. Lilira is actually one of the very first voice-acted lines if you start in Ul'dah. Zirkro says the fun part is that any seasonal event that starts in Ul'dah, you can find the disguised Sultana somewhere. That's actually so cool. I kind of want to like look at that next time I'm doing an event. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in Squalar, at the mercy of the elements and Tanalan's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is. And unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of El Amigo, and 5 since the calamity. Yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less. As Sultana, the blame falls upon me. You have done your best, Your Grace. Your hands have been tied, Your Grace. You've done your best. Let's go with that. Then my best has not been good enough. I mean, kind of true. Farrell says, I've been here for a bit, just mostly lurking. No, that's what I mean. Like, it's nice seeing someone enter chat. Because, yeah, I have no... I don't stream with a view count anywhere, so I kind of gauge how many people are watching by how many unique people I see in chat. Like when I see a bunch of different unique replies. I don't know. I mean, I could probably have a view count thing on, but honestly, it's sometimes more stressful when I know that there's a lot of people all of a sudden. But yeah, well, I hope your day's going well, Farrell. Thanks for lurking. Matthew says, I don't know. I didn't know that. I have to look for her now. Yeah, it's a really cool, like, secret. I feel like I've probably seen her at different events and just not noticed with the disguise. Ravanan says, Goldsmith's job quest has you following Lilira to find out what gift to make her. Interesting. I love all this, like, little secret, like, kind of mission with her. Kerman says, gotta watch out for those Talan predators. That level 1B is dangerous. I mean, this huge hornet is like the size of my Lalafell, and I would be terrified. But yeah, level 1, probably not going to do a ton. Shall we press on? I should follow the road to the unholy hair. Okay. Let's roll. Kind of want to do like a random... Oh, maybe I'll do the sheep, actually. Oh, let's do the sheep. Whee! I feel like I've been using the car for too long now. I might switch it back to random at some point. That's one of my favorite ways to mount up, just randomly each time. Oh. Am I going to be able to make it through here? Yeah, I did. Look at all the people around. Lovely. Wait, is it even in? Yeah, okay, it's in this map. I was like, how far am I going to have to fly? Just on this nice weird ledge. Nanemo says, I was here in this wholly unremarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interests in eastern Thailand when an untimely rock slide crushed their carriage. My gosh. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or an expertly planned assassination. Raboun once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' death were orchestrated by monarchists, we could... monastrates, I guess. We could only have brought their... hirelings to justice? Oh, heirlings, I guess. That's fair. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a dietable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences of my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price for my naivety. But I am no longer a child reciting words with witless obedience. I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarists' damnable games. I apologize for some of the pronunciations of these words. Forgive me my outburst. We are one of the few people, or you are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let's return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum. All right. Iriko says, I have way too many mounts. I kind of have to use the mount roulette, or I would just never see most of them. Farrell says, thank you. I'm online as Rose Blackbird running around more or less. Oh, you're Rose Black. I don't know why. I feel like I knew that at some point. I need like a little cheat sheet somewhere of everyone's in-game name versus their actual YouTube name versus their Discord name. It gets complicated. Northern says, well, we now know that the next expansion could come in 2024, so you will have some time to get to Endwalker. Well, let's see what I can do. We're pushing forward bit by bit, so it's good. I'm actually like, when I sit back and think that the next expansion I'm playing through is Shadowbringers, I can't actually believe it. I finally get to play through Shadowbringers. That's what sold me on trying Final Fantasy, was seeing Shadowbringers come out and everything. So it's kind of fun that story is actually going to happen now, that I actually get to play through it. I think what we'll do is just go and talk to... where should we go? Talk one more time, go to the Gladiators Guild, and then we're getting pretty close to the time where I'll pause here. Because I'm getting hungry. I mean, not quite yet because it's only 3:30, but I also maybe should have had more lunch. So it's a weird time for me to stream. I don't normally do the afternoon. But it's been nice, like I say, to see some different people. Iriko says, at least mine's easy to remember. I'm just Iriko everywhere. I mean, it is nice. I try to do Seesaw everywhere too when I can, but like when it's taken, it's taken. It's always the most devastating thing is joining a new MMO and then seeing that your favorite name to use is taken. Because then you debate, do you want to do a slight variation on the name, or is it just better to do a whole new name, right? Like it's such a gamer problem to have. Nanamo says, from the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from the ignominious chapter of my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raoban. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered through I was. I thought I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged Raoban to die on the sands that day. Oh my goodness. I love the amount of backstory we're getting here. This is so cool. This is super cool. Yurko says, oh my god, I'm so stoked for you to get to Shadowbringers. If you're at all like me, you're going to have a hard time putting the game down after you get through 4.4 or 4.5. I just had to know what was going on. Zikro says, I feel the same way. I'm excited for Shadowbringers. I'd say, and even for parts of Stormblood and Heavensward, there was moments where it was hard to end the stream, or it was hard to stop. I think in particular, I feel like I've been very present with all the Stormblood story because I always did it as a stream, and because of that, I would read it out loud, which to me makes me soak in the story a bit more. So I think I'm going to continue doing this way of doing it through Shadowbringers. I think it's going to be super fun. Maybe there'll be a few streams that end up going a bit late because of that, but it'll be well worth it. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raoban had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did. And when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Raban is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate, and then I had my blade. Very interesting. Oh, we're getting another echo. It's just the time for echoes today. Oh, did we get to see the fights? Look at him and his 2 arms. Dang. It's a pretty cool fight scene. Are they chanting Raban? I think they were.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
Jumps over the body. Oh my
Seems
goodness.
you're the one who needs looking after, Master Shum. Raban!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Ul'dah, and so, as tradition dictates, Rauben Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last. Long live the Sultana, and long live Ul'dah!
I feel like if they were gonna give us an echo, they could have just, like, it's weird that they told us what happened and then did that, but I mean, I get it. Yuriko says, on the bright side, you won't have to wait 5 months after the 4.5 cliffhanger like we did. That's actually been one of the best parts about how slow I play through this game. I don't have to wait ever. And it's actually one of the hardest parts of a lot of, like, with Guild Wars 2, with World of Warcraft. I'm often waiting for the next piece of content, so it's been so nice at Final Fantasy just to always have the next thing ready. Kerman says, look at those tiny legs go. Or Kerman says that. Terminus says, this cutscene is one of the incredible rare instances where we actually see someone remove their helmet. Yeah, it's really cool too. I love the like helmet and just seeing him hold it up. Like, it's a very cool cutscene. Zirko says this is actually a redone 1.0 cutscene. Oh, very cool. And Yuriko confirms that. Very cool. Northern says those 5 months were painful to wait. Well, there you go. I won't have to wait for that. But let's turn this in. Words cannot express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's love for me is as that of a grandshire for his grandchildren, but upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Raban, with the authority of the syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. Wow, that's a really nice way of putting it. What do we got here? Some different food. We got stewed river bream, Doman tea, parmesan pudding, or just some silver things to sell. Which one do I want? I just kind of want the pudding because it sounds tasty, but I'll probably just get these. But yeah, I think this will be a good place for us to pause for today. I know, as with every stream, we've probably made a shockingly small amount of progress, but I hope you do enjoy this type of content of going through these and really enjoying the story together, because I'll say it's been one of my favorite parts of 2022. I mean, I know we're about halfway through, and I do kind of do that yearly look at how things have gone. And I will say that the growth for the channel has been pretty slow because I haven't been making a bunch of videos, but the amount of streams we've been able to have has been a lot of fun for me too. So I'm excited to look at how 2022 did overall at the end of this. But yeah, here we are. But thanks for coming to the stream, everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. As I've mentioned a few times now, there is a comment in the community section on YouTube, or a post, I guess I should say, where you can leave any question you have about my experience with Stormblood, and I'll try and fit that into the Stormblood review that will be coming out. Look at this, we have the perfect closing shot here. I'll try and fit it into the Stormblood review that should be coming out probably not next weekend, but the weekend after. Next weekend we should be doing a stream once again, but we'll be doing some Guild Wars 2. I'm not sure if it will be like a vote for the time kind of stream, or a stream where I just announce the time, or a stream where it's a surprise stream, but it'll probably be a Guild Wars 2 stream where we do the second episode of Living World Season 1, which will be a fun trip down memory lane. But thanks for everyone who joined today. It's been great to see you in-game, both Rose, Blackbird, and Icebun, as well as everyone in stream. It's been great. Irko says gills worth more. Exactly, gills worth more. That's what the bags were for, right? That's the gill. I can buy all the food I want with that. But yeah, thank you everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend and a great start to the next week. It's always a pleasure.